Good afternoon and welcome to the New York Minute Sports Show, New York style, Mets and Yankees. I'm here with Mike from Pudgyboy Sports with a Z. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Let's go! Well, there you have it, folks. Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. We're doing it with Mike from Pudgyboy Sports, totally platonically here with a Z. What's going on? We got baseball back, Mike. And if you can't tell, I don't know if it's the Bustelo, I don't know if it's the hit of the Benjamin Franklin, but I'm fired up for baseball. What about you?
Oh, I'm just so excited, man. Seeing baseball back every day, knowing we have something to watch for the next 180 days over the course of the summer, it's just the best feeling in the world. Not the best feeling, but
it's the best male soap opera out, straight up. 5 days a week, 6 days a week of nothing but drama for your mama. And there was nothing but drama going down in Citi Field over the weekend, Mike, because from an outside perspective, I was watching the Mets at Citi Field, getting ready for my Yankees. Boo birds from Bo Bichette already from the New York Mets fan base. How can you wrap your head around that? Do they not want this guy to succeed, Mike?
Yes, they do not, because I've been saying it since the start of the offseason. There is a percentage of Mets fans, and I only think that about 40% of this fan base, and I think I'm being generous, is actually smart when it comes to baseball. The rest of this fan base is completely moronic. They're stupid. They have no logic. There are people that are going to be booing Bo Bichette all year long because they're going to blame him for the reason why Pete Alonso is not back. And I don't want to keep harping on the Alonso stuff, but they're going to look at Bichette. They're going to look at the $40 million a year. They're going to say, this money should have gone to Pete. So 3 games in, I've never in my Mets life, and if you could remember something more than I can, I've never seen a new player like this get booed on the first series of a homestand ever, like Bo Bichette's getting booed. And it's strictly because this fan base is really stupid.
Now, do you think that if the Met fan didn't see that this money was somewhat roundabout allocated towards Bo Bichette, that he wouldn't be getting as hard as a time? I mean, I didn't see his numbers per se, but did he go over or what? What was his performance like? Did his performance warrant the boos?
The performance was god awful. So I think it was around 1 for 13, 1 for 14 with about 7 or 8 Ks. So he looked terrible, awful. But that does not warrant boos on the 3rd game of the season. I can't wrap my head around that. How early?
And I could also see that if these were in losing campaigns. No 100%. One saw that the New York Mets were going to score 5 earned runs off of Paul Skeens, and his center fielder was going to forget how to play center field all of a sudden. And the Mets took 2 out of 3, and they almost won the 3rd game. So, if anything, the Mets on Sunday, Met fans in the building should have been cooking with Crisco. They should have been on dealing with house money, and it should have been a cherry on top of a great opening weekend. But then it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I just don't get. I don't boo guys at the stadium. I only give them thumbs down. I don't boo. Yep. I don't audibly boo. Like Josh Donaldson, I did this for every single at bat that I saw him at Yankee Stadium. Jake Bauer, thumbs down, because that's what I do. When you have a guy like Bo Bichette, Met fans, let me know in the comments below. Do you not want this guy to succeed? Do you not want this guy to be the absolute amazing hitter that he is? And I remember that single down the line in the first game that scored. Pretty good, not bad. So the New York Mets, though, other than Bo Bichette, Mike, what was your biggest positive over the weekend?
I mean, the pitching. I mean, we could go with the bats. We could go with the top 3 guys in the lineup probably being a little more negative, but the pitching was great. Peralta got through 5, kind of labored through it early on in the year. McLean, rocky in the beginning yesterday, but settled in, struck out 8 over 5 in the 3rd. And you look at David Peterson again, 6 innings of 1-run ball. I mean, the pitching was great. The bullpen's been really good so far, except for Dickie Lovelady, who
I got it. Okay. Who names their child Richard Lovelady? and they know what they're doing. It's not like they named their kid Gaylord Perry, like the closer from the Yankees and the San Diego Padres when the Roaring '20s was going on, okay? When names like actually didn't matter and it wasn't tongue-in-cheek. But when you name your kid Dick Lovelady, you're just asking for him to get stuffed in a locker or to get into adult films when he gets older.
He might have to after these last 2 outings.
Both are showing your heat. It's either your meat on camera or showing the heat of your fastball, but it seems like he was the sacrificial lamb this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, because, Devin Williams made his debut in Game 2.
Dev, my guy.
Yeah, made his debut in Game 2, pitched to a scoreless inning, which was nice to see. And he wasn't available yesterday. And we also had Brooks Raley, who pitched in Game 2, who was not available yesterday. So already you see some of the stuff with the bullpen, which I'm not the biggest fan of right now, because I'm at a point now where I'm not going to be able to take this team seriously until a guy like Richard Lovelady is off my team, because he can't be the go-to option just because guys are out. There are better options. There's Ryan Lambert in the minors. There's Craig Kimbrell, who's not that good anymore, but still throws 99 miles an hour. I'd much rather have guys like that than him up here right now.
I'd much rather have a guy like Kimbrell, who's been around the league, who's a knockaround guy, who actually knows how to get outs in a big spot.
Yeah.
Now, I think that the New York Mets and the New York Yankees have a lot in common, where they're going to reload from the farm system throughout the season now. They have these guys. They have a system they have a plan in place to bring these guys up throughout the season, just like the New York Yankees with Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz, LaGreja, Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez. So they're going to have to play until injuries force them into the lineup. And I've actually both noticed this about the Mets and the Yankees yesterday, is the fact that in Major League Baseball, spring training has been expanded to the first couple of weeks of the regular season. As you notice, even in the NFL now, when they shorten the spring, I called it spring training, when they shorten the preseason for football, the first 3 weeks of the NFL is a shit product, okay? Not saying baseball was a shit product, but as far as pitch counts, as far as workloads are concerned with these guys, if you noticed all the New York Yankees pitchers, nobody went above 83 pitches this weekend. They took Will Warren out after 4.5. They only let Cam Schlittler go 5 1/3. So they're really slowly releasing these guys out into the wild, and especially with a young staff like you got, Mike. Who are you most excited about as far as the young arms are concerned with the New York Mets? Because starting rotation is a big concern for me and the New York Mets.
Yeah, Nolan McLean. I have high hopes for this kid to be the future ace of this staff. And to see him pitch in the World Baseball Classic with the way he pitched, and to come out, and I thought that maybe there was a little layover from pitching in the Classic compared to pitching in spring training.
Yep.
It was not going to be easy. I mean, you might have saw it with Skeens a little bit. Maybe he had a little bit of a hangover.
Logan Webb, same thing.
Webb,
gave up 7 runs. So I was just having this conversation. I'm glad that you brought that up. Is that if you look the hangover from the World Baseball Classic, because these guys ramped up way too early. I mean, the breaking shit that McLean was throwing in the finals against Venezuela, and it wasn't his fault that he lost that game. DeRosa, who's got scrambled eggs for fucking brains, left him in the game way too long. After that first run, I was in the building. They should have taken him out of that game. But when I see him, I get Matt Harvey vibes from him.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
No, please, after you.
No, he's got some he doesn't have that Harvey aura yet, but he could have it. Like you could see when he hits the mound, the crowd
that's a
buzzes.
great thing. That is a blessing in disguise. You don't need the fucking Matt Harvey aura. That was Stolio and Stolio and Soda, okay, was the Matt Harvey. And also, nobody's got a superhero name. Nobody, even before they throw a pitch, is named Thor or the Black Knight or the Green Lantern asshole, okay? So there is some hubbub about these guys. But it's not like the Matt Harvey where he came in and he started the All-Star game in his rookie year and took the major leagues by storm. Now, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees have 2 budding stars in their starting rotation with McLean. Is it McLean or McLean?
McLean. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like John McClane from Die Hard. All right, that's how I word associate. You have McLean, and then you got a guy like Killer Cam Schlittler for the New York Yankees. Now, I don't like to get too excited about guys, but this guy's got the stuff. His name is Buff, and he's the stuff, just like Buff Bagwell. Killer Cam Schlittler is killing it. But before we switch gears to the New York Yankees, I have some questions about the New York Mets. Now, in the beginning, I was saying that the New York Mets are trying to kill the New York Yankees in their fan experience, and they're doing a very good job. The New York Mets, they got shuttles from malls all around the tri-state area, right? Then they got the 999 deal. Then they got the broadcast in your ear connected to the lanyard, which I've said that the New York Yankees should have done that forever. So I was literally singing the praises of the Mets, and just like the Jets, the Mets are going to Mets at the end of the day. This 999 deal is the biggest piece of shit deal I've ever seen in my life. Did you see this?
I did. There's two schools of thought for this 999 deal. So it's what is it, $60 for you get the 9 shrimpy
Yeah, let's
hot
break
dog.
it down for the people watching. The 999 deal is 9 hot dogs and 9 beers in 9 innings. Okay?
Yes. That's the challenge.
So the Mets put out an advertisement that I see on social media. It says, yo, 999 deal at Citi Field, $60 out the door. I'm like, holy shit. Because if you go to Yankee Stadium, you can buy about 4 big beers for the same amount of money. So they're they're going to give you 9 beers and 9 dogs. But just like the Mets, there's always a catch, the Steve Cohen catch. So what's the catch, Mike?
The catch is they give you 9 glasses of 9 nice little glasses, like about this big.
Yeah.
And they give you 1 huge thing of beer.
They give you 1 tall boy.
Nice size of beer, and you pour that into the 9 glasses. And then the hot dogs are not yours, if people could attest to this. I could attest to the hot dogs that they're giving to the New York Mets, which is the smaller, shorter hot dogs. If you're somebody who's bringing your family to the game and you want to buy that package, that makes a lot of sense to me. You get the 9 things, you have a couple of kids, maybe 3 kids, they're bringing their friends. I don't know how it's going to be. That's the only thing that makes a little sense to me. It says you could have all that food for the people that you're going with.
Absolutely.
But there is a caveat to this and a little bit of a cheat. Mets have $5 hot dogs and $5 beers on every Tuesday at Citi Field. You could buy regular size hot dogs, regular size beers, $5 each, and spend $90 that day and do the actual 999 challenge. If you want to do it that way.
Yeah. Or you could just bring your own food in.
Or you can sneak your own food in.
Listen, fans, I just want to let you guys know this. I go to a lot of baseball games. You can bring in, to Yankee Stadium at least, I know this is the rules. You can bring in as much food as you want, as long as it's in a bag and no bottles of water. Actually, you can bring bottles of water in. You can bring bottles of water in as long as they're closed, and you can bring bags in. So down at Yankee Stadium, they got this Mexican place called San Jose's down by the Target right around the stadium, and they cook authentic Mexican food. And I don't even know why I'm telling people because I don't want to wait online if this place blows up. But it has some of the best authentic Spanish food in the Bronx, and we bring in fucking like a wheelbarrow of food into the stadium. So it definitely helps with cost. All I do is wind up buying a cup of coffee. But the 999, so if you think about it in theory, they couldn't do what they really wanted to do. First of all, the thing would cost $325. And just imagine if you have a large portion of your fan base trying to scarf down 9 hot dogs and 9 beers. You'd be cleaning up the vomit with a fucking snow shovel in the stadium, bro.
And again, you don't want to do that to your fans either because people are driving home, people are doing all this stuff. If they choose to spend the money and do it themselves, more power to you. But this is kind of like a little bit of a watered down Metsian type way of doing something, which is really funny. Just eat your short hot dogs.
I have another question for you. Did Juan Soto tip off the third base coach to send Lindor at home so he'd get his head taken off yesterday? Is that true? Is that true?
Bullshit story. It's not true. This whole Lindor Soto shit.
Hold on. I'm serious. I just made that up joking around to bust your balls. Is this a real storyline?
No, because I've seen it. I've seen it already. I've seen that Lindor. There's Mets fans saying Francisco Lindor purposely slowed down coming around third base just so Juan Soto couldn't get the tying run home when he hit the gapper yesterday. This fan base, like I said in the beginning, this fan base is really stupid. There's words I want to use that I'm not going to use because they are that dull. This is the worst fan base in baseball, and it's not even close. It's not close how dumb some of these fans are.
See, I think your fan base, I think that you have like 20% of your fan base that are probably the best baseball fans in baseball, to be honest with you. Like when you run into Met fans, a large contingency of them know their shit. They're borderline Rain Man when you talk to them. And they're like, yeah, 1968, they scored 78 runs in one game. And it's like, yo, bro, get out and see the sun, all right? But then you had this WWE mentality on social media, bro. So there is no shame in the game anymore, right? So like when I post shit on social media, when I do things on YouTube, I'm not going to do clickbait titles. I'm not going to do gotcha thumbnails because there's no substance to that, and it's just bullshit to get clicks. And that's exactly what comes out of this. But I have to admit, if you want to tell me that there is nothing going on between Soto and Lindor, I think that's a full lie. They're not the biggest fans of each other, and that's going to be where the rubber meets the road. Like we said on last episode, last Monday, right here on New York Minute Sports. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. Also, Mike at Pudgyboy Sports with a Z on Instagram. Also here on YouTube. We were talking about that. Lindor is best friends with the owner of the Mets, and now Juan Soto comes in making $800 million a year, only getting $800 million a year, $800 million for his career. So now there is that power dynamic, but if we want to talk about the New York Mets, they're 2-1 after the first 3 games, after a tough, and I don't care who the Pirates, how bad they are. It seems like they always play the Mets well at Citi Field. Then you had Luke Weaver's debut, the former Yankee for the New York Mets yesterday. You got to see that change up, and that's exactly what Luke Weaver brings to the table in that high leverage situation in the 9th inning for the Mets yesterday. Gets out of trouble. He's a little bit of a Houdini as well. So, man, the Mets are looking good. Starting pitching, we're not going to know where that's going to come from. And the bullpen is Mike's biggest thing because guess what? We know these guys are going to mash.
Eventually, this lineup is they're going to mash. You're going to see it. Lindor started to come out of it. There's a little early slump yesterday. Soto's going to be fine. And Bichette's going to be just fine. You don't hit 300 for your career and then all of a sudden it goes away. This
Unless
is not
you're
Jason.
Jacoby Ellsbury.
Or you're Jason Bay, but he never hit 300. I know people are starting to compare the two, but two different players, guys. Everybody,
I can tell you right now without even looking, Jason Bay had a hotter wife.
Jason, I was a fan of that signing too.
Do you remember that when she showed up to the Christmas parties dressed like a schmazula?
Her and what's his name? Chris Benson. Same thing.
It was Benson's wife, right?
Hannah Benson. Yeah, she showed up. She was flirting with half the team, and then
oofa.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I've been watching The Sopranos nonstop. By the way, I'm on episode 4. Payamai just died. Spoiler alert, by the way.
I think we've reached the statute of limitations now on spoilers for The Sopranos.
Yeah, like right after it airs, so I can just talk about it on YouTube endlessly. But still, the best show. Before we switch to the Yankees, what do you think was a better show, Breaking Bad or The Sopranos?
Sopranos. I was more of a Sopranos guy.
Now, my question to you is that because it's got mobsters in it and it's from the tri-state area?
There was a little bit of
regional bias.
Yeah, I kind of like the whole mobster thing. The show was done right.
Yeah, I mean that. And that's the funny part about it is that it's like me. First of all, I think the Breaking Bad rivals The Sopranos because they did it on regular TV, and then you have Breaking Bad. A chemistry teacher from Arizona is really not my vibe, and meth. I'm much more of a gourmet, a few scotches and cigars down in Newark. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, I know Mike likes his cigars. So, well, speaking of actual cigars and the Yankees, they're apparently putting male tampons in the bathroom, and I will be there for opening day, and that shit's going to get ripped out of the wall by some 18-year-olds after the 999 deal real quick. But speaking of the New York Yankees, this week they sweep the San Francisco Giants, with a great performance by Max Fried, did not have anything in his first start, still goes 6 innings. And I was just saying this, Mike, Max Fried, you saw him on the Braves being a Mets fan, and he always was good, but he never really was considered an ace, an elder statesman in Major League Baseball. It looks like he's really starting to click at 28, 29 years of age. That's usually when guys, left-handers especially, start getting good in the league. Any outside takes from what you saw from the Yankees this weekend?
Don't know. Yeah, no WBC hangover for Bednar is what I saw. He looks really good in the closer role. He's going to take it over. I'd be so excited about Cam Schlittler, man. I would the sky is the limit for a kid like him.
You know
I
what,
love
man?
what I'm seeing early.
I'm trying to not be
I know
like
it's
you know what I'm saying. So we're
yeah,
gonna talk around it without mentioning it, okay?
yeah.
Just
Sky's
like
the
a
limit, bro.
no-hitter on the broadcast. So everybody at home, you know what we're talking about. Don't put it in the comments, but it's not a matter of if, but when, right? It always happens to these guys. But the one thing that Cam Schlittler has going in his way, effortless. He ramps up to 103. It looks like he's having catch with the catcher. Then he has 3 versions of his fastball that he takes a little relish off. And if you've seen that video, the plane in which he throws the ball, it gets about a half a foot away from the plate, and it just separates. Every single pitch, whether it's a curveball, split finger fastball, cutter, or regular fastball, they all look the same coming at you. And that's why guys look absolutely clueless. And then when he needs it, he's just burning you down. But the one thing about the injury, the looming injury and the clouds above that, he's only throwing fastballs.
Yeah, it's just
Like
natural
guys
movement,
get into
too.
trouble like Barry Zito and Mark Pryor back in the day and Kerry Wood because they're throwing 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock curveballs, and they're putting a lot of torque on that elbow. Cam Schlittler looks like and he hasn't even filled out yet. He hasn't,
No.
he's 6'4", 210 pounds right now. The guy's going to get bigger. But in the back of my mind, I just hope after the first 5 years he don't skip over to Boston.
No, that would be horrible.
Dude,
But,
this is what I'm thinking about at 2 a.m., like a freak show.
I know you spoke about it after the first game. You gotta be excited, though, about I know not just Fried, but the runs scored without having to do the long ball. Like, that's gotta excite you as a Yankee fan.
It
Something
does. It
that
does
they
in the
scoring all
first
these
game.
runs every year with the home run, you're like, "All right, home if they don't hit home runs, they're not scoring."
But
But that
then
has to be exciting to see.
it is exciting, and I was excited. It was one of my biggest takeaways from the first game where Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge do absolutely nothing, and we still win 7-0 with good pitching. That's the version of the Yankees that I want to see all the time. The small ball, hit and run Yankees, the moving. So one of the biggest things that New York Yankees, I want you to take away from the weekend, and it's the smallest thing in the world. It's the tandem of Jazz Chisholm and Caballero in the 6 and 7 spot. They got the 2 fastest guys. Usually they would do that in a 9 and a leadoff spot where they piggyback the guys, kind of acting as a theoretical 2 leadoff hitters back to back. But the New York Yankees are cooking up something good with Jazz Chisholm and Caballero, and they're keeping that partnership of shortstop and second base going where they got him at 6-7. They had a hit and run from third base with the infield pulled in, bro. That made me wet. Okay, I had to change my pants for a hit and run at third base that wasn't going to work. Everyone knew it wasn't going to work, but just fucking do it, man. Hit and run, move runners over, sacrifice flies. That was game 1, Mike. But then, what was game 3? What was game 2? Winning 3-1. What happened in the last game? Game 2, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge go long. Aaron Judge sends a ball into the ambulance, and then yesterday, the long ball again.
They're
But
gonna hit home runs.
I know, but you can kind of see it in football where they have a different vibe to the year. They're like, hey, we have a new plan of attack, and this is the way that we're going to do it. So they can hold it down for like the first 3 weeks, but then they fall back into their old patterns. Like right now, Jazz is swinging 75%. Perfect. He's not fucking saying anything stupid. Perfect. That's going to change. Once he starts hitting home runs, he's going to swing out of his. We know. We've seen this before. We're going to play lights out until we approach the Boone swoon. But one of the biggest tests for the New York Yankees comes tonight on the West Coast, Mike, in Seattle. So usually for the first 3 weeks of the season, the New York Yankees for the last 3 years, which they have swept the opening series against the Giants twice and the Brewers once. But if you notice that they haven't started on the West Coast. When I was a kid growing up in the 90s, the New York Yankees would be out on the West Coast for a week and a half. Anaheim, Seattle, Texas Rangers, then they come home. It makes the most sense in the world, bro. People were freezing their asses off at Citi Field.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Over the weekend.
Like 30
Baseball
degrees.
and golf should be played in 70 degrees and above, or get a roof on your fucking stadium, okay? So I do like pushing back because I've been to 24 consecutive opening days now. The opening day last year, I was freezing my dick off. It was 38 degrees at game time, cloudy and drizzling. You're never colder at a baseball game in the audience. I don't know why you don't get cold at a football game. Maybe you're standing up a little bit more. But the New York Yankees go over to Seattle, and this is their big test of the year. They got Ryan Weathers going against Luis Castillo tonight, the one that got away from the Cincinnati Reds when the Yankees tried to acquire him 2 years ago. So this is going to be a big test. You want to talk about pitching? This is going to be a big test for the New York Yankees.
You know what I was the biggest fan of, and we definitely talked about this last year. You see all the guys that are going to be contributing. Like, this is why Cashman is the best. All of the people he acquired at the deadline are still here now. So it's like they're like a part of this brand new version of the 2026 Yankees. Although they were on the team last year, like the Bednars and the Duvals and the Birds and everybody else that was on this team, Cabanero. I love exactly what he did at the deadline last year because it's going to benefit them now to get those couple months in, come into spring training, get the full season going. That's why it's just a tad of a different team, but it's not. So all the run it back people,
it's a maturing team. It's just it's very similar to the Boston Red Sox. Their franchise has a lot of guys like Roman Anthony, who's going to be the next big thing. I want to steal him. I want to kidnap him like the movie Celtic Pride and bring him to Yankee Stadium because that guy's the goods. But this is why the New York Yankees fans were in such a had their hands up because we didn't have a gift under the tree at Christmas time, which we're so used to. But it's like, dude, Brian Cashman's new approach is get guys at the trade deadline for cannon fodder in AAA, guys that are under control for 2 to 3 years on the way up. He nailed it with Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm, the same player that we got from the Marlins, you look at him now, it's night and day. He is an extremely better player now. Not so much in the field, but with his stick and getting in the Yankees franchise and getting in the hitting lab, he's done unbelievable. Look, a guy like Caballero, another guy. Also, one of the biggest things you can take away from Caballero is he comes from the Tampa Bay Rays system. If you get a guy from the Rays system, you know that they can pick guys from the farm. So that makes me feel good right off the bat there. When you get guys under 2 to 3 years control, you get them at the All-Star break. The New York Yankees did a full rebuild, driving down the LIE at 65 miles an hour while putting the car back together and got out to Montauk alive, okay? And not only got out to Montauk alive, they won the first series against the Red Sox. If you look at this team on paper, they theoretically should have no reason to be in the playoffs last year with the pitching that they had. Now, just like the New York Mets, just like the New York Yankees, whenever something happens, we have recourses now. We have options now. For the last 2 or 3 years, the Yankees and the Mets both had a thin bench, and when somebody went down, it was Shitsville.
It was just some schnook from AAA or AA that you knew was going to come up and not perform.
Yeah.
Now we actually have options, which is it's amazing to see. You could give guys days off now without having to worry about too much of a bigger drop-off in the lineup.
You know what? And the New York Yankees do not get enough credit for the way that they've completely rebuilt their pitching system. I mean, all they do since Luis Severino, let's be nice, I was going to say Chang Ming Wang, but since Luis Severino, the New York Yankees have been producing nothing but high-talent arms out of the farm system. And that never would happen. I mean, with the New York Yankees, when they had Gary Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez, they had that dynasty dream team. They had no pitching. That's why they never won until 2009 because it's pitching, 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 pitching. And I got to admit, Clay Holmes was looking good in the World Baseball Classic, Mike. I'd be really excited about that guy.
He's one of my most intriguing guys. When we signed him last year, I know everybody kind of laughed at it a little bit, making him a starter, but he's got this. He's got really good stuff, and this is now his first full season with a season behind him as a starter. That's why I'm so intrigued. And he's pitching tonight. I think he's going to have a good outing tonight.
Who's going up against tonight?
We are in St. Louis tonight.
Ooh, it's always a good classic matchup. The Mets and the Cardinals. The Mets. That's another series the Mets should win, and that's why they're favored, man. If you look at this offensive lineup of the New York Mets, they got dynamic hitters all over the place. The New York Yankees, like I said prior, they're going up against the Seattle Mariners out west at 9:45 tonight. Uncle Eric's getting no sleep for the rest of the week, and then I'll be at opening day on Friday. I'm trying to go to as many games as possible in the stadium. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. The Yankees will be taking on the Marlins this weekend. But hey, listen, everything is rainbows and lollipops and sunshine right now in the baseball world for the Mets and the Yankees. They both won their series. The Yankees look lights out. And what's so funny is that under the category of that's baseball, Susan, is Paul Skeens gives up 5 earned runs in his first game. Aaron Judge has a golden sombrero after not doing it at all last year to open up the series. And then the New York Yankees set offensive home run records against the Milwaukee Brewers in their first series last year. And then this year they turn around, go to San Francisco, and set pitching records. So I have to admit, if it's any record that I would want to break, Mike, it'd be pitching records in Major League Baseball, because we saw it in the United States Dominican Republic game in the World Baseball Classic, and it still works to this day. Good pitching always beats good hitting. Go over to Instagram at New York Minute, NEWYRKMIN. Check me out. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And we're going to be doing the live show for an hour every Monday, guys, right here. The New York Minute Sports Show. We're going to be wrapping up the Mets and Yankees, what they did over the week. And then we're going to be touching on Knicks coverage. That's right. The Knicks playoff push. Me and Mike are going to be covering it right here on Mondays. Guys, let everybody know about us, share our socials, share the YouTube, let them know about New York Minute Sports and Pudgyboy Sports with Mike. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.